Hi guys, today I'm doing something a little different for any of those on the fence regarding Remnant from the Ashes. So far, I've put around 30 hours in Remnant and played through a couple of campaigns, so at this point I think I have a pretty good handle on the game and its mechanics. The term Dark Soul-like gets thrown around a lot. People tend to use it for any game that involves rolling around to dodge, choreographed attack moves, anything with quite a difficulty spike or a learning curve. But Remnant from the Ashes is Dark Souls-like. Yes, it has the rolling and dodging of enemy movements, but it also takes mechanics straight from Dark Souls. To enter a boss fight, you walk through a wall of mist and can't exit. You have a flask that heals you with limited uses, and the only way to restore these uses is at crystal checkpoints, which also respawn all the trash mobs on the map. Along with that learning curve and the difficulty spike, this is exactly what I would refer to as a Dark Souls-like game. Saying this, Remnant does enough to distinguish itself from Dark Souls or Bloodborne. For a start, melee comes secondary to your guns. In fact, with most bosses trying to go melee only is suicide. The gunplay feels solid and satisfying to make up for this, and the range of weapons, while appearing limited in the beginning, is actually very diverse, rewarding, and random. What do I mean by that? Well, each campaign is randomized. Sure, the main story is the same and the locations you visit are the same, but each location is made up of a set of random tiles. You can play through your campaign and join your friends, and the paths will be different, and the enemy spawns will be different. Hell, even the bosses and dungeons are randomized, which means you can play through the entire game and not have a chance of seeing a boss or getting an item, but that's one of the places that the replay value comes from. Each boss drops a weapon or item unique to them, and some even have multiple different items depending on how you interact with them. For example, one boss, if you just kill it, gives you a shotgun/grenade launcher, but if you destroy its legs first, you get a hammer. So not only do you have to go through again to get different bosses to get their items, you also may need to encounter those bosses you've already killed just to kill them in another way. Another boss requests an item, give it to them, and you receive a scythe that heals you when attacking. Tell them no and manage to triumph over a very tough boss fight, and get an assault rifle that, when charged, will give you a free revive when you die. This isn't the only way to receive items or weapons though. Some are just lying around, and others are hidden through puzzles or environmental storytelling. For example, you can receive a mask made of wood that drove a man mad with its whispers. Using this, you can then talk to a tree and receive a new trait. At any point, you can join a friend's game and play through their campaign to see what's changed, or at any point, you can re-roll your own campaign, start from the beginning with a newly random generated world, along with being able to change the difficulty that you're playing on. Shortly after first creating your character, you're told to pick one of 3 classes. But this isn't as big of a deal as it first appears, and rather than being your classic classes, these are more like starting loadouts. They each have different starting weapons, armor, skills, and each have one unique perk. Now, the armors, weapons, and skills all become available to purchase nearly immediately once you unlock the vendors at World 13. The unique traits are more difficult to come by as they tend to be rewarded by random events, but it's still possible to find them and build your character however you want. There are no constraints from classes, and eventually, given enough time, you could max everything out. When it comes to leveling, you have 2 different level sets. One is your gear, which also decides the level of your enemies for new areas you enter. This is increased by going to the vendor, spending scraps and resources you got from enemies, and upgrading your weapons or armor. This tends to be with some form of iron and potentially crystals or scrap, depending on if it's a boss weapon or a regular weapon. And the other level is your trait level. This is increased by gaining experience and by finding knowledge books around the world. Traits are perks that give increases to your stats, such as more armor or crit chance. These are gained similarly to weapons and armor by doing quests or random dungeons and boss kills. While you start with only 3 traits, there are a total of 35 you can unlock, with each having 20 levels. So, the maximum level you can currently get to is 700. The developers have also mentioned that while there is no plans for microtransactions, they're planning to support the game with updates and potential DLC post-launch. The world itself is beautiful and dark and twisted, and you can see the influences from Lovecraft and Secret World in there. The biomes are varied and so are the mobs you'll encounter, although I won't go too far into that as to not spoil any of it. All in all, I love this game. It's something new to the gun-based RPG world, and the theme and solid mechanics really make for some good gameplay. With the amount of time you'll need to run through the campaign, as well as the future additional content, I can definitely see myself putting a lot of hours into this game. I definitely recommend it if this is the kind of game you enjoy and you like the Dark Souls-like hard, difficult style of games, along with shooters or RPGs. It's definitely got some solid mechanics, and I would definitely recommend this game. Anyway, guys, if you liked that, let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and there may be more following on in this series, depending on how well it does.